Hi there makers, I'm Gavin.
And I'm Annie.
And welcome back to Minerva. Now, it is that extra special time of the year. It's the time that all of us makers have been waiting for. The Great British Sewing Bee is back.
Yay!
So we are super excited to have another 10 weeks of fabulous sewing challenges. Patrick and Esme are back, joined this time by new host Sophie Willan. And there are 12 exciting new contestants diving in to all the fiendish sewing challenges that they have set. Now, we're going to be here every week. It might be a little bit of a mix of lineup this time, so hopefully Vicky will be joining us for some of them. And we will be chatting through all the challenges, the hits, the misses, the fabrics that we love, the patterns that they've used, and really kind of helping you to really share your love of sewing and the sewing bee. So before we get started, Annie, what are you wearing?
So in the theme of this week's Great British Sewing Bee, which was British summertime, I thought you always need an extra layer in the British summertime because you never know what the weather's going to do. So I recently sewed up this gorgeous Terence Williams Parrot Paradise print. It's fabulous. Into Simplicity 1108, which is this pattern that's got about 4 or 5 different like robes, dusters, whatever you want to call them. And I paired it with the Cabana Wave contrast fabric for the trim. And it's very nice. It's in our Eco Vero viscose crepe as well, which even though it's breathable. A viscose fabric as well, it's very light, it's very breathable, but I find it doesn't crease, which
always
is a bonus. So yeah, very pleased with this one.
It is gorgeous. Yes. I really like the little trim.
Yes.
I love that print actually in Terence's range and the way it coordinates. And I might just be stealing that for a make myself coming up very soon, hopefully.
Very nice. So what are you wearing today?
Well, again, as it's British Summertime Week, I thought I would bring out one of my shirts that I made for my recent holiday.
Very nice.
So this is the Tobias Conrath Tropical Research Laguna shirt.
Very nice.
Which is a camp collar shirt. It's got a really nice kind of facing to it. And this is sewn up in our Minerva exclusive Confetti Cascade cotton poplin. This is the teal colourway, which is so my colour.
Yes.
I love teal. And I think this is just a really nice kind of modern...
Yeah.
It's not too busy a print, and I do like a busy print, but it also gives you lots of nice kind of colours to coordinate.
Yeah, I love all the different colours in there, but it's just a more subtle print.
A little bit more subtle.
Especially for you.
Yeah, for me. But, it's British summertime. You don't want to go too subtle, do you? So, shall we dive into the first challenge?
Yes.
As always, we are going to be talking in depth about the challenges, who does well, who goes home each episode, and who's going to be the garment of the week. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, please pause us here, go away, catch up on the BBC iPlayer, and then come back once you've seen it because there will be spoilers.
So, for the first challenge this week, which was the pattern challenge, the sewers were challenged to make a pair of ladies' shorts with patch pockets and lots of top stitching, and they had just 2 hours and 45 minutes to do this. So, not a lot of time at all.
Throwing them in at the deep end as always.
Yes. So the shorts had an elastic back, kind of a flat front with a faux fly, and they had to make sure that the faux fly went the right way, so it was right over left. Because
for
they
a
were
women's
ladies' shorts.
Yes.
They had patch pockets, which were top stitched on, the hem was top stitched, and Patrick and Esme were just looking for neat top stitching, nice even elastic at the back. And
understitching on that waistband facing as well. They were very clear about that.
Yes. So generally just nice, crisp, neat sewing.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of points that you really needed to hit on this one. I don't think it was overall a complicated make, but I think to achieve all that, to do kind of neat top stitching on all those elements, neat gathering of that elasticated waistband within the time constraints, I think this was probably a good first challenge. It's kind of setting the bar of, it's not too hard, but we are challenging you on the time and the precision.
Yes, definitely.
So, which of the makers really stood out for you in this challenge?
I think overall they all did a really, really good job. I think that's the first thing to say. There was nobody who had an absolute disaster of a make, which is always nice for the first week. But I really liked Beth's. She had this kind of purple, almost tie-dye type fabric. And it was just really neat, really nicely done. Patrick and Esme had loads of lovely comments about it. She had nice, neat top stitching, and I think she just really nailed the brief and made a really lovely, neat pair of shorts.
I totally agree. I think Beth is one of those people who has made a real mark in the competition early doors. And I think she's doing an engineering PhD.
Yes.
And I think engineering and sewing actually quite complementary.
Yes.
You can see her kind of precision and kind of viewpoint. So I think she'll do very well in this competition.
Yes. So who stood out for you?
Well, someone who I think has been a real star throughout this episode is Anna.
Yes.
I think that I love her style, kind of getting to know her a bit behind the scenes.
Yes.
She's got some crazy outfits and some really kind of creative styling. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some of that.
Definitely.
But what was really clear, I thought, from the pattern challenge is that she's got precision and the technical skills to back that up as well. So she made a lovely pair of shorts in a quite nautical blue striped fabric with little bows and ribbons on there. She's the only one who went for a contrast pocket in the red fabric, but I think she put it all together so expertly. Her top stitching was just beautifully precise, and I think the overall look of her finished garment was just really fresh, nautical summer vibes. I thought it was just spot on.
Another one that I really loved was Minnie, who had this gorgeous like strawberry print. I think it was a denim fabric or a cotton fabric. It just looks like such a cute fabric for summer, and I think strawberries just scream British summer as well. It's very Wimbledon. It's very kind of strawberry picking season. And I think, again, she just did a really, really neat job on her shorts. And I think they just turned out beautifully. The contrast thread colour she'd used for her top stitching kind of picked out little colours of the print in the fabric, which I thought was a lovely touch as well.
Well, talking of the contrast top stitching thread, someone I thought who was given quite an unfair ride on this was Adele.
Yes.
So Adele made a lovely kind of leopard print pair of shorts. Hers was kind of a very kind of earthy brown and black leopard print. And she chose a white contrast thread, which I think in terms of the competition, it's really going to stand out. It shows your stitching. I have issues with anyone who thinks that white doesn't complement anything.
Yeah.
It's like you've got, but Patrick was very clear.
Patrick didn't like it.
I don't like it. And very early on, Adele was like, oh, maybe I should change it. Oh, I'm not going to change it. And at the end, she's like, if Patrick doesn't like something, change it. And I'm like, you know what? No. It's like, you do you. I thought her top stitching was good.
Yeah,
the construction was good. And I think she deserved a much better placement. I think she came 11th out of 12, which I think just because Patrick didn't really like the colour of the thread, I think was a bit mean.
Yeah, I think if she'd have gone for something like a brown or a black top stitch thread as well, I think they maybe could have said that it wasn't contrasting enough. So I think she's tried to make sure it definitely contrasts, because they made a big thing about it had to be a contrasting thread. Yeah. And then unfortunately Patrick didn't think it was the right top stitching thread to go for.
Whereas the maker who did come bottom this time, I understand why.
Yes. So
Sam ended up in last place. He made a lovely pink cotton pair of shorts with a kind of purpley contrast stitching.
Yeah, the contrast thread looked really nice.
It was a really good choice of threads. His issue was just ran out of time, really.
Yeah.
So his top stitching was a bit wobbly. He didn't have enough time to finish the bottom top stitching. Yeah. Certainly didn't get to the double top stitching there. And I think first challenge, someone's going to run out of time.
Yeah, someone's going to run out of time. And I think
the time they gave them was tight.
Very tight. And his fly was the wrong way round as well. But I think if he'd taken time to unpick that and do it the other way, he wouldn't have had time to... He'd nearly finished the last bit of his hair.
And I do think that that was a particular trap for the male sewers.
Yes.
Who would be used to wearing and seeing shorts the other way around. So it was probably inevitable that it was one of the men that was going to make that mistake. But I think even Sam did a pretty good job of the shorts.
I think all of the sewers, for the first week, I think they all did a really fantastic job, given the very, very short time frame that they had. And also just the pressure of that being your very first challenge, your very first time in the sewing room, with all the cameras on you and Patrick and Esme kind of haunting around the sewing room. I think they all did a really fantastic job.
Absolutely. So if you want to take on some of the challenges from this year's Sewing Bee, each one of our videos, we're going to be going through some of our top picks of patterns that you could try to create something similar. But a great place to start is with the new Sewing Bee Everyday Style book. Now, this has kind of been produced to accompany the series, and there is a fantastic range. There are 20 full projects in there, which I think is probably one of the biggest ranges they've done.
Definitely.
And inside there, you've got some of the pattern challenges from last series. So you've got the tie front blouse, you've got the baseball cap they did, but you've also got some of the challenges from this season. So if you really want to challenge yourself and try it along, hey, give yourself the time limits and see if you can do it. So the actual shorts pattern they used is in this book. So that's a fantastic place to start. So we do have this book available at Minerva, so we'll tag that below. But we've also picked out a range of other patterns for you. So if you don't want to invest in the full book, there's lots of other patterns that you can get to get a similar vibe. So Annie, if you were to be tasked with this challenge, what would be your pick of pattern and fabric to try?
So the first pattern that I've picked out is the Closet Core Pietra shorts. I love this style because they've got kind of a bit more of a tailored look to them. I think they look a bit smarter than like a casual pair of shorts. I love the kind of slanted pockets on the front of them. And these have got that same style of the flat front, but then the nice elasticated back. So you've got a nice bit of comfort there when you're wearing your shorts. Then the second pattern I picked out is the Tessuti Bailey shorts. So these have a more similar pocket to the ones that they made on the Sewing Bee, but these are elasticated all the way around the waistband, so even comfier to wear. And then if you prefer a big four pattern, I've picked out Simplicity 1887, which has got loads of options in it. You've got these lovely little shorts, but then you've also got options for skirts and trousers as well, so a great value pattern just generally.
We love a great value pattern.
Now, for fabric, I think you can't go wrong for the summer for a cotton poplin. I love cotton poplin. It's just so easy to work with. You're going to get those lovely crisp lines on your pockets, on your hem. I love that it just glides through your sewing machine. So when you're doing your top stitching, it's just going to make that really easy. It presses really nicely. And this print is Confetti Cascade. I also love this print. I love teal. I'm a big fan of teal. And I think similar to what you said, Gavin, I like that there's all different colours in there. So when you're pairing your shorts with a top, you could pick out a few different colours. So it makes it a really, really versatile garment in your wardrobe.
And I see that you've also picked out the stretch version.
Yes, yeah. So I think shorts, when it's hot, you want something that's comfy. So a little bit of stretch in that fabric is just going to make a little bit of comfort when you're wearing your shorts as well, to go with that elastic waistband. Nice bit of movement, and yeah, just a really, really great fabric.
So for my pattern pick, I thought I would open things up a little bit to the menswear makers. Yes. So I've picked out a men's short pattern, and that is Simplicity 9960. This is, I think, another really good value kind of multi-view pattern. So with this one, you have a summer shirt pattern, you've got a t-shirt, there are a regular pair of elasticated shorts, and then you've also got an option for cargo pockets to make them a little bit more functional, a bit more for your kind of rugged outdoorsy man. And this particular pattern comes in waist sizes 28 to 48. So you've got a decent range there. You might be able to squeeze in some of your older teens into that range as well, which I think really kind of adds to the value of the pattern. And for my fabric, I've picked out this 100% craft cotton. Now, you might not think of craft cotton particularly as a dressmaking fabric, but I think when it comes to something like trousers or shorts, it's fantastic because it's got a good, strong, stable weave to it. It is completely stable. It's really nice and easy to sew, but it's also not too thick, so it will still kind of gather up nicely for that kind of elasticated waistband. So there are absolutely dozens of colours in our Minerva Core range craft cotton. This particular one is our sage green. It is our sage green. And I think this is it's such a lovely colourway. I like that kind of nature tones.
Yes.
I think this would pair really nicely with kind of beiges, more natural colours, but I don't think it looks bad with like a bold teal either. So that'd be my pick for these shorts. So for the second challenge, as always, we are into transformation territory. And this time around, sticking with the British summertime theme, the makers were tasked with taking 2 barbecue aprons and in 90 minutes transforming those into a functional bag with a very clear purpose. So they were allowed to take 2 aprons each. They had the option of kind of sliders and webbing, but they weren't allowed to use any additional trims or fabrics. So what did you think of this as a challenge?
I actually thought this was one of the best transformation challenges in terms of the final result. I thought all of them looked really neat. All of them had achieved a functional bag. I thought it was a really enjoyable transformation challenge.
I kind of agree. I think it took something novelty and made it functional.
Yeah.
Whereas I think sometimes the trap of these challenges is they take something functional and make it novelty.
Yeah.
So this felt like the right kind of transformation.
Yeah.
And honestly, in 90 minutes, some of those bags were really well done. So which ones stood out for you? What were some of your favourites?
I absolutely loved Anna's vintage-inspired hat bag. I love that she'd kind of thought outside the box a little bit and gone, what can I make that's a little bit different from what everyone else is going to go for? The final result was just beautifully sewn.
It
looked
immaculate.
incredible. The way she achieved that in 90 minutes, I don't know how she did it. It just looked beautiful. Just a fun, functional bag that I think kind of showed her personality and her style and the kind of things that she likes to make. I could definitely see her walking around with her little vintage hat bag. Any that stood out to you?
There were so many.
Yes.
I thought they all did such a good job. I want to talk about Lewis's.
Yes.
So Lewis, I think, was the only one who took a kind of waterproof fabric. So he had a more kind of rubberized apron, which had that kind of laminated cotton vibe to it, which I think automatically creates that kind of functional vibe.
Yes, definitely.
And he turned that into kind of a little picnic bag, which I thought was really cute. I thought it was the perfect use for that type of fabric.
Yeah.
I get that his straps placement was like a little bit off and that maybe took away from some of the functionality of it. But I thought that was kind of a really clever use of it and really suited the fabric that he got. Someone else that I thought did functionality well, but maybe took functionality over the challenge, and that was Tim.
Yes.
So Tim, I think he said, has apples on his
farm. Like his orchard or something.
So he made a very functional bag for collecting apples when you're doing the harvest. But I think he made it so functional that half of it just looked like an apron.
Yeah.
So I can see that why the judges didn't go for that, even though I think he made something that was perfectly suited to the function he was going for.
I think he fit the brief, but they do like to see it being a transformation. So I think it was really well sewn, and like you say, it was definitely functional, but it did still look a little bit barbecue aprony by the end.
Yes, it did.
Another one that I thought really showed off her personality was Emma, who made this really lovely like music bag or briefcase that she called it, for students to pop their sheet music into. And again, I thought it was really functional. I love the fabrics that she picked, well, not the fabrics, the aprons that she picked out. She went for some bright colours, which, we've seen in all of the challenges she did. She definitely loves bright colours.
She does, and we love her for it.
Yes, we do. I just thought she did the little bit of embroidery on it to say that it was a music bag, and then it turned out so tiny. But thankfully Patrick spotted it, so he did. Yeah. He was able to say that it was a music bag. But
I'm going to say, is this the first time they've had access to kind of embroidery machines in the sewing bee? I don't remember them being there before.
Yeah, so possibly.
But yeah, I think that's a kind of nice touch, and it very much. There was no way that they would have guessed that was a music
No,
bag
I think if Patrick hadn't spotted that tiny little writing, they probably would have just thought it was.
But it was definitely very nicely done.
Yes.
Another one that I thought really ticked functionality well was Heather's. So she made a gym bag, and it was very clearly a gym bag, right down to the way she added the kind of webbing clips on there for a yoga mat. It was super functional and also looked really pretty. I think the webbing she chose really complemented the fabric. And again, I think in 90 minutes, fantastic transformation.
Yeah.
If you've got some aprons or maybe tea towels lying around at home that you're like, you know what, I would love to turn these into a bag, a really nice place to start is with a pretty straightforward tote bag. And if you sign up with Minerva, which is completely free, if you go to minerva.com/register, you'll find that there is now a fantastic range of free PDF patterns on site. And one of those is the Runner tote bag from Merchant Mills. So this is a fantastic tote bag that I think is just primed for using offcuts of fabrics, upcycled aprons, tea towels, tablecloths. It's just a great way to kind of reuse fabrics, and would be a fantastic project maybe to do with your kids, something that's not too complicated, and I think a fantastic kind of avenue into bag making. So if you were to take on this kind of apron transformation challenge, what kind of direction would you be heading with it?
I think I would be heading down the route of kind of beach bag, pool bag for my holidays, because I'm the kind of person who takes 1,000,001 things down to the pool. I need my book, I need my headphones, I need my phone. I probably need a second book in case I finish the first book. I need my sun cream. So I would be making, with 2 barbecue aprons as well, you could get a pretty good size of beach bag or pool bag in there. So I think that would be where I would be heading with it. What about yourself?
Well, for me and my partner, our summer holidays tend to be a lot of exploring. Yes. We're not really beachy people. So I always have like a mission bag with me. Oh. So something that you can shove your wallet, your phone, your sunglasses, or swapping glasses between my sunglasses and my regular ones usually. And also like water, sun cream. So I think like a bum bag, like a crossbody bum bag would be fantastic. But I would take a little bit of a leaf out of Beth's book and have somewhere to store a water bottle, because when you're yumping around in the hot heat, the hot sun, you need water, you need hydration all the time. So I definitely take a little bit of inspiration from her just to make it extra functional.
So for the final challenge of the episode, it's always the made to measure challenge. But this week they did something a little bit different, and they were tasked with making a garment fit themselves rather than a model like they normally do. So that, I think, is very interesting.
Yeah, definitely it changes up the challenge a little bit. I feel like you can't say, oh, well, it's a new model, I've never used them before. It's someone that you should be familiar with, probably, with making for.
Yeah.
I do appreciate when Patrick says that it is harder to measure and fit yourself because you can't necessarily see all those bits, but it gives them practice opportunities.
Yeah.
And I feel like it maybe makes things a little bit more comfortable for them.
Yes, yeah. So they were tasked with making an outfit for their perfect summer's day. So a very sort of wide open brief, and they had 5 hours to do this. So again, a reasonable amount of time, but I think it depends what you're making.
Yes.
I will say, I do think the men were at a little bit of a disadvantage. So I think the women could get away with just making a dress and then they've got an outfit, whereas the men had to make sort of a top and trousers or something.
That said, I was surprised there was quite a few of the women chose to make multiple items.
Yeah, some of the women did choose to make sort of two pieces for their outfit as well.
So, but yeah, I think there was some really amazing outfits here, and I don't think any of them were terrible.
Yeah, again, I don't think anyone sort of crashed and burned or had any sort of disaster. All of them ended up with a finished outfit, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, everybody finished this one, which I think was really good to see, especially for the first episode. And whilst I think making something to fit yourself maybe takes away some of the pressure, having to then present that yourself on the runway adds a whole new kind of level of pressure to it. So I want to say congratulations to all the bees for going through that and having the confidence to strut that catwalk themselves.
Yes, and I think also having Patrick and Esme scrutinising your make while you're stood there wearing it.
Yeah, you can't kind of hide in the background while the model's being criticised. You're like literally right there.
Yeah, so definitely hats off to them all for doing that. So one maker that kind of, I really liked what she made, but I think the judges thought it was just a little bit too simple, was Dawn's dress and little sort of chiffon shawl that she made.
Don't forget her little poo bag.
Oh, and her little dog poo bag, of course. So she said her perfect summer's day was going for a nice dog walk along the beach, and then going somewhere for some food afterwards. So she had this lovely sort of simple knit dress, which would have been really comfortable to wear. And then she had her nice little chiffon shawl. She was going to use a cover stitch machine for the neckline.
Which I thought was a brave episode 1 choice.
Yes, I think she was definitely maybe aware that hers was a little bit simple. So she was trying to think of ways to kind of show her skills, show what she could do. In the end, the cover stitch machine, I don't think it worked out. I think it sort of started chewing up her fabric. Yeah. So she put a binding on the neckline.
And that binding was immaculate.
It was so neat. It was beautiful binding.
Yeah.
So yeah, that turned out really lovely. It was a lovely dress and a lovely little chiffon shawl. I think it was just a little bit too simple compared to what other people had made.
Yeah, and I think she was very much held to account by the judges for the overall simplicity.
Yeah.
And I think in a challenge where they're asking you to fit something to your body, choosing a knit dress where it will stretch and fit you, I can see why you would go for that, but I also see why you're almost judged a little bit harsher maybe for that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of spoiling it now. Dawn goes home this episode. But I really would have liked to have seen a bit more of Dawn.
Yes.
We didn't get to know her that much, but we did learn about her. She has visual impairments, and I think throughout the episode she was using like magnifying glasses and lights to help her. And I really think that you could tell that the bright lights in the studio were something that she was struggling with, because I think she wore dark glasses in some parts of it. And I think that she really faced a lot of challenges just going into that.
Yeah, a lot of challenges that the other sewers just weren't
Yeah.
even facing at all. And I think it's lovely to see sewers with disabilities showing that you can still enjoy sewing. Because I think she'd been sewing when she was a child, and then she lost her sight in one of her eyes. And the fact that she's found these tools and things to be able to help her to continue doing something that she enjoys is just lovely to see.
So I would have loved to have seen her over a few more weeks and see her show some more of the ways in which she is able to access sewing despite the hand that's been dealt her.
Yes.
And I think it was a lovely dress, but I can see why it was judged as it was.
Yeah. Now, if you loved Dawn's dress, if you loved something sort of simple, easy to wear, I think everybody likes wearing a sort of easy, swishy outfit in the summer. So I've picked out New Look 6775, which I think is a really good match for Dawn's dress. It's just got this simple sleeveless style, nice round neckline. There's a couple of different lengths in the pattern as well, so if you wanted it a bit shorter, you can make a shorter version. And it's designed for knit fabrics, so it's just going to be really comfy and breathable to wear. You could do it in sort of a cotton jersey, a viscose jersey, an ITY, lots of different options that you could choose for fabrics. And I think this would be perfect for British summertime or if you were going away as well.
Well, Dawn picked a watercolour floral fabric for her choice. So if you want a similar vibe, I've picked out this dead stock ITY fabric. So this is like an ex-designer print from our range. But I think this would be lovely for that New Look pattern. It's got, I think ITY has that kind of bounce to it. It's really kind of slinky. It will follow the curves of your body, but it has also got fantastic stretch to it. So this is 4-way stretch. It's going to follow all the curves of your body, but it's going to make something that's going to be really nicely fitted to your body. It'll be great for something like doing neckbands because you can stretch it and it will follow that tightness. And I think the colours on this are just really nice and really lovely and summery. Sticking with people who were more down the kind of bottom of the pack, I want to talk about Lewis.
Yes.
Now, Lewis chose to make a kind of relaxed fisherman's style top and then some matching shorts to go with it. And it was interesting. He was talking with Sophie about when he was like picked out to be a model, and then they saw his body measurements and were like, oh no. And I think that sometimes people think that, oh, well, sewing for a man's going to be easier because there are fewer curves to deal with. And that is true up to a point. But I think it's that reminder that everybody is unique.
Yes.
And everyone's dimensions need to be accounted for. And everyone is you're going to vary from a pattern in some way or other.
Yeah, I mean, patterns will use a standard block, so everyone is, unless you're very, very lucky, you're probably not going to get a pattern that fits you straight out of the packet. Yeah. I think it was interesting that Lewis was talking about how, I mean, he looked, from what I could see on the TV screen, he looked like quite a tall man.
Tall. He did have very long arms.
Very long
arms.
So he was talking about lengthening his sleeves and lengthening the body length of his top. So yeah, I think even though obviously a man has, like you say, less curves, there's definitely still adjustments.
There's adjustments to be made. And I like what he'd made. I do feel that his was probably the least well fitted.
Yes.
Or it was at least the most obvious that there were some fit issues there. Because I think he kept having to kind of pull it forward.
Yeah, Patrick noticed that he was pulling it forward.
So I think probably some sort of kind of like short forward shoulder adjustment or something might be needed there for him on that particular pattern. But I think what he made looked good, ticked the brief, and I think it was a little bit of a twist on a kind of regular shirt or a t-shirt, but still had a kind of nice casual summer vibe. So we don't have anything quite that with that fisherman vibe to it, but the nearest I found was this super pattern for men and women, and this is Simplicity 9278. And this has a relaxed top that has that slightly fisherman vibe to it. This particular one has like a quarter zip on it as well. But then this pattern also has a pair of trousers, a little bit of a scarf in there as well. So great value pattern. If you want something maybe for the whole family, if you're both a bit outdoorsy, I think that would be a nice choice.
So moving right up to the top now, I wanted to talk about Emma's fantastic swimming costume and trousers. I loved everything about this. I loved the fabric that she'd picked. Again, it was just very her. It was bright colours, it was bold. The swimming costume that she made, I mean, working with kind of an activewear fabric and making swimwear in the first episode, when you've only got 5 hours and she had to make trousers as well.
Yes.
She wasn't making it easy for herself, but
no, she did a really good job of showing off her skills.
She did a really good job, and making a swimming costume fit, because that is going to be something that's going to be so obvious if it doesn't fit, if it's
especially
a bit
kind of around
somewhere.
The armholes, and she had cutouts in hers too, so
Yes.
everything needed to fit really well.
Yeah, so the swimming costume was absolutely fantastic, and then the trousers that she made, amazing. I loved that she had that giant bow tie on there
So
as a
cute.
little sort of nod to her dad.
And Esme.
And, well, yes, Esme does love a bow. I just think the whole outfit was just absolutely fabulous, and she achieved a great fit as well.
Absolutely. I think tackling that pair of projects for any Sewing Bee challenge is impressive.
Yeah.
Doing it week one, even more impressive. But also having the confidence to go on national TV and sport a swimming costume that you've made in the past few hours is really, I mean, hats off to her.
Yes.
I would absolutely not be going anywhere near doing something like that.
Those trousers wouldn't have been coming off.
But, I mean, she's a professional soprano,
Yes.
so I think she's obviously used to performing and the audience, and I think that confidence stood her well in this challenge. But her sewing really stood up to that level. It was just fantastically done. And I think she's shown that she's definitely one of the ones to watch.
Definitely, yes. So if you are inspired to make your own swimwear, whether you're wearing it in the pool or if you just want to wear it on the beach, just for lounging around, you don't want to do any swimming, Simplicity 9609 is a really fabulous option. It's got those an option for the cutout details like Emma's swimming costume did. But if you're not fancying the cutout details, it's also got an option for just like a full coverage swimming costume as well. It would be great in our activewear fabrics. We've got the glossy activewear and the matte activewear. Both are chlorine resistant, so you can definitely get in the pool with them. Just a really fabulous pattern if you want to tackle making your own swimwear this summer.
And then in terms of fabric, I think what I really love about our Minerva exclusive fabric is that not only do you get an amazing choice of different prints that you can play with, the fact that you can get the same prints across different base cloths really gives you so much freedom to create coordinating outfits.
Yes, so a lot of our makers on site have done this, where they've made kind of swimming costumes and then a matching cover-up or caftan. You could do a matching bag. Obviously you could do like Emma did and do matching swimming costume and trousers. Just really lovely options for making coordinating sets and outfits.
So this is our Enchanted Vision print, which is available across all our different base cloths. So this is our glossy activewear, which is fantastic for swimsuits. But then, as you say, you could pair it up.
Yeah, so this is our linen viscose, which is lovely and breathable, nice and swishy. So it's got the kind of feel and the texture of linen, but the viscose just adds a nice bit of softness and drape to it. So it would be perfect for trousers or a kind of a lightweight jacket or something like that to go over the top of your swimwear.
And if you wanted to do like a caftan or a cover-up, something like your lovely Simplicity robe, then something like our viscose chalet would be fantastic too. So many options, and you can get whatever print you want made up in whatever fabric. So someone who took a very different approach to everyone else was Anna. And I think I get the impression we're going to see a lot of Anna's personality coming through in the makes and some different makes to everybody else.
I think she's very creative and she's got a very creative vision, and I'm very excited to see what she comes up with.
So for this challenge, Anna made a top and bloomers, both of which were made from upcycled tablecloths, to which she added bow detail, and it was just super cute. Had a kind of Edwardian vibe to it, definitely vintage nods there, and it was fitted really nicely and just fun and summery, but in a very different kind of unique way.
Yeah, I thought it had a little sort of hint of kind of a Vivienne Westwood kind of vibe to it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Like when she was in her era of kind of making those kind of punk corsets with a little bit of a Victorian edge to them. And I absolutely love that kind of era of Vivienne Westwood. But yeah, I thought it was really lovely, a really cute outfit, like you say. I like that she brought the colour in with the little pops of red.
Yeah, I think it might have been a bit plain looking without that, but that really helped, yeah.
And I think she definitely did the right thing by listening to Esme. So Esme recommended that she try the shorts on before gathering the bottom, because obviously she had that beautiful embroidery from the tablecloths, and she tried them on and she decided not to gather the bottom, which I think if Esme and Patrick are giving you little hints, you should probably listen.
Yeah, unless it's about top stitching.
Well,
then ignore them.
ignore
but yes,
them
for this I think absolutely.
Yeah.
I think literally the only flaw was when her kind of like back waist seams didn't quite match up, which Esme clocked.
Oh, of course she did.
Of course she did. But yeah, really nicely sewn, fun, different, and yeah, really fresh.
Yeah.
If you wanted to make something inspired by Anna's look, then the folkwear Edwardian underthings pattern is a really good place to start.
Yeah.
I think folkwear patterns are very special in that they're a lot of vintage patterns, but also unusual kind of traditional patterns from around the world. And I think this one, particularly kind of the bloomer vibe that you get from these, is really going to help you kind of create that look. But then you've also got a more modern pattern.
Yes, so if you're not kind of wanting to go down the route of making traditional Edwardian garments, then I think the Vicky Sews Sorrel shorts have got that same kind of vibe, especially when Anna didn't gather the bottom, so she just kind of left them loose. You can see from the actual pattern image as well that they've used this lovely white embroidered cotton. So I think this one definitely would be good for showing off embroidered fabrics, or if you've got any old sort of vintage tablecloths lying around at home, would be great for showing them off as well. So another sewer who went for a kind of vintage vibe was Minnie, who made this kind of almost Regency style empire waistline dress that she said she would wear for walking around a National Trust property, which I think is just perfect.
Very, very nice weight. And then an afternoon tea.
Oh yeah, obviously, of course, which definitely would be up there as one of my perfect summer's days. And she had this lovely embroidered cotton fabric. It was beautifully sewn. She had the nice little puff sleeves that were gathered. It fitted her really well. I don't think Patrick and Esme could really fault it too much.
Yeah, I think this is one of those that quite understated, quite simple in some ways, but ticked literally every single box of what they wanted and just looked lovely.
Yeah, it looked really lovely on her, and I think it kind of showed off her personality and the kind of the things she likes to do and the way she likes to dress. If you wanted to make a kind of Regency-inspired Empire line dress like Minnie's, then I think McCall's 8647 would just be a fantastic choice. You've got the option of adding like little bits of trim and embroidery to the bottom of the dress, or you can just keep it nice and plain and simple. I think that big skirt would just be perfect for showing off a nice print or an embroidered fabric, a fabric with lots of nice details in there. It would just be lovely for the summer and definitely lovely for afternoon tea in a National Trust property.
Well, to kind of complement the pattern and kind of Minnie's vision, I've picked out this absolutely lovely embroidered cotton lawn fabric from our range. So this is a dead stock fabric, and it's a kind of fawny, light beige cotton lawn, but with these beautiful kind of lemon yellow embroidered flowers across it. And that embroidery brings a real kind of sense of structure to the fabric.
Yeah.
It makes it much kind of denser than a very light cotton lawn.
Yeah.
But it's still just kind of beautifully summery, and I think this would be perfect for a National Trust property.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice and breathable, but like you say, that structure is going to hold the shape of those puff sleeves a little bit more. It would just be lovely, and it just looks beautiful as well.
Another maker who went for a slightly vintage-inspired look was Rebecca, and I absolutely loved hers.
Yes.
So she went for a wrap dress to wear to a farmer's market with her fiancé. And it was in this lovely kind of farmer's market inspired fabric. But I think what made it really kind of vintage inspired was the flounces, these lovely kind of flounces at the shoulder, a little bit of a flounce along the kind of bottom hem as well. And she did a really good job. She said that she'd been through a few iterations of this pattern to make sure that the wrap was giving her a good fit and no kind of gaping around the bust. And I thought she really achieved that. It really ticked the box. It looked fresh, it looked summery, and the mix of greens she used I thought was really pretty as well.
Yeah, and I like that she kind of used pattern fabric for the main dress, but then she went and used a plain fabric for kind of the ruffles and the flounces. So I think it avoided the dress looking too busy and too over the top. It kind of toned it down a little bit and just made it look really, really lovely.
Well, if you wanted to kind of recreate this look, I know that she used a wrap dress pattern, which was, I think, the Bella Loves floor dress, which is a PDF pattern. But a pattern that we have that I think would help you create quite a similar look is our very own Minerva exclusive poppy dress. So this, again, it's a woven dress. It's really great for summer. I think this would be lovely for a farmer's market.
Oh, definitely.
But this particular pattern, it's more of a shirt dress style, so it buttons up the front, but it's got those kind of lovely sleeve flounces. So I think you could really take inspiration from Rebecca and do those sleeve flounces in a plain fabric versus a contrast for the main. And then you could use the same plain fabric for the belted tie detail. And that would give you that really lovely mix. With this kind of dress, then the fit's going to be a bit different. It's probably a little bit easier to get the fit right.
Yes.
And I think this is just going to look absolutely lovely.
So another maker who included a flounce detail on her dress was Angie. So she included the flounce at the bottom of the hem, just to give it that really lovely kind of swish factor, a lovely kind of frill ruffle bottom. And I think, again, her dress, the fit was lovely. It just looked really, really nice overall. She had, I think, a little bit of bunching on the sleeves because she didn't have quite enough time to set them in properly. But I think other than that, the sewing was really neat, the fit was really, really good, and the fabric she used was really nice as well. So if you would like to recreate a similar look to Angie's dress, then I've picked out New Look 6692. This is a lovely pattern that has actually been down on my list of ones to try for a while. I love the square neck detail. I think that's really flattering. You've got this flounce hem, and it's just a really lovely summery dress that I think would be perfect for kind of walks in the park or going to the beach, going shopping. Just a lovely design that's quite simple, but has some nice details in there.
Another dress that had perfect picnic vibes to it was Adele's. Now, she made a reasonably similar style of dress to Angie. Hers was in this lovely blue fabric with little strawberry detail on it, and she'd picked that for like strawberry picking with the kids, which I think was super cute. Hers, I think, again had slight puff sleeves on it, but a little bit more of a kind of gentle sweetheart neckline.
Yes, yeah.
And a bit more fitted around the bodice. And I thought she did a really nice job of it. I think it certainly read relaxed, summery, and the print especially, I thought, print or embroidered?
Not sure. I think it was embroidered.
But really gave that kind of summer. You can't say British summertime without strawberries.
No.
So I thought she did a really lovely job. And if you wanted to create something similar, then New Look 6693, I think, would be fantastic. So there's a version with a lowered kind of round neckline, which I think will give you a similar look. It's got bust darts and waist darts as well. So it's going to give you that kind of shaping around the waist. And then you've got a range of different sleeve options as well. So you've got like a little petal sleeve, which I think could be really cute, but then also more of a kind of gathered puff sleeve as well. So lots of lovely options for creating a little picnic dress. Now, as you said earlier, I think the men pretty much had to make 2 garments for themselves, unless they were going to make a jumpsuit, which I think would have been even harder. And Sam took that very literally and went for a shirt and trousers combination. I love a shirt, love a good shirt, love a good pair of trousers. I feel like his was probably the least exciting of all the options.
Yes, I think it was a very classic summer day outfit.
Yeah, it was.
But I'm not sure it showed his creativity.
Yeah, I don't think it showed his creativity. It was, the combination was giving bloke down the pub. Nice pub.
Yeah.
Nice pub.
But nothing wrong with a pub on
But what I will say is, like, he made in the time a men's fitted pair of trousers and a full shirt.
Yes.
And both were really nicely made, fitted him really well. So whilst I don't think it was the most creative option, he did a really good job in the time.
Yes.
Because I make a lot of shirts. I would struggle probably to make a shirt in 5 hours.
Yeah.
To do the shirt and the trousers, he did a really good job.
Yeah, I think he'd gone down a similar route to Dawn of he'd gone for something a bit more simplistic, but his sewing was very neat. And obviously, like you say, he did have to make 2 garments. There was a moment near the end, I was quite stressed for him. I thought he wasn't going to get his buttonholes and buttons on.
It was a little...
It was tight.
It's very tight there.
But he did manage it, which is great, because I think he walked down the catwalk and he had his shirt buttoned up. And Patrick did comment as well that his buttons matched the colour of his trousers, which I think was a nice touch.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great that he managed to get those buttons on in the time frame.
So if you wanted to create something similar, I think a really good option on the shirt front would be Simplicity 8753. And the reason that I've chosen this one in particular is this has a range of different fits to it. So you've got the option of a classic shirt, a modern shirt that's a little bit more tailored, and then a slim fit shirt, which has got like full darts down the back to really kind of pull it in. So if you want something that's going to be like really tailored and fitted to your body shape or whoever you're making for, I think this would be a really nice option for that. And then I've paired that up with our Minerva Core range Slub Viscose Linen.
Lovely.
Now, Sam chose a linen for his, and I think that's a really nice option for a summer shirt. And the viscose linen just gives you additional softness.
Yeah.
It's more crease resistant. It's a little bit lighter than making a linen, because I think linen can be a little bit heavy for a shirt.
Yeah.
And obviously in a denim blue, it's really classic and it's going to go with pretty much anything. And then on the other end of the menswear scale, we had Tim this time round, who made a waistcoat and a pair of wrap trousers. I think if Sam was a very good sewer, but unexciting on the creativity front, I feel like Tim's options were much more creative. I feel like he pushed the envelope much more in terms of ideas, set himself a bit of a challenge, but was more criticised, I think, for the finish.
Yes, I think, like you say, he set himself more of a challenge, and then maybe he had to sort of maybe rush a little bit or sew a little bit faster than he would normally to kind of fit it into the time scale. What I will say is I love the way he'd kind of paired those contrasting fabrics. So the waistcoat had these kind of like almost princess-like seams, and then it kind of almost flowed really nicely into the trousers with where he put the contrast pockets on the trousers. I think it looked, as an outfit, it looked really nice. And I love that the fabric he'd used was from fabrics he'd made his wedding waistcoats for him and his husband in. I think that was just really special as well. Overall it looked really, really striking. I think it's just when the judges got in and kind of started looking at the nitpicky details.
I think a lot of those issues were around kind of the lining of the waistcoat peeking through, and I think a lot of that could have been fixed with understitching if you'd had the time to do that. But I think that, like you say, the creativity and the vision, the design of what he put together was really nice, and I'm hopeful to see some more kind of really interesting menswear from him, because I loved what he did on this. Now, if you wanted to create a similar look, for the waistcoat, I'm pretty sure Tim used the Know Me Happily Dressed ME2109 pattern. So this is a waistcoat and kind of barrel leg trousers pattern, so another great value one. I literally have this sitting on my shelves at home, not that I've tried it yet, but the waistcoat has, like you say, it's got that almost princess seam curves at the front, and then there's a curved panel at the back. It's a little bit more of a modern fit than a lot of waistcoats, so it isn't as fitted. So it's never going to kind of hug you quite as much as like a more traditional waistcoat might. And then to pair with that, he made some wrap trousers, which I recognised instantly because I've made the exact same pattern myself. And not that you can see, but I am wearing them today. So these are the Noella wrap trousers, again from Happily Dressed, but this is a PDF pattern of his own. And I thought this was a really smart choice for this challenge, because with wrap trousers, it's basically one size fits all. You tie them at the front, tie them at the back, and that's the size that they are. So I thought that was a clever choice, but they're also super comfortable and a fantastic choice for a really kind of relaxed summery outfit.
Now, I really loved Heather's dress. Again, it was almost a simple sort of style dress, but she'd added this beautiful piping detail, which I think just really elevated the finished look and showed off some of her sewing skills, which is always good. Again, she had really, really neat sewing. I think the only thing that the judges kind of picked up on a little bit was her invisible zip was not quite invisible in one little patch of the zip.
But they have to pick on something.
I think overall it was really, really neatly sewn. A beautiful dress for a summer's day. Just looked really fabulous, and the fit was really good as well.
It was really lovely, and like you said, I'd love a bit of piping. And I think it wasn't something that you needed to add to that dress. Particularly that fabric was just beautiful. But it just showed a little bit more skill and just made it a little bit more personal. And I think that piping just adds like an exclamation mark to what you're doing. So if you do it nicely, it really does look good.
So if you wanted to create something similar, then Vogue 9100 is a fantastic option. It is a lined bodice, so it's going to be super comfy. All those seams on the inside, so the princess seams and everything is going to be nicely enclosed in the lining. It's got this nice full skirt that's gathered onto the bodice. I think it's just a fabulous pattern. And of course, you could add a little bit of piping detail to that if you wanted as well.
And then to pair with this, taking a little bit of inspiration from the parrot fabric that Heather used, we've picked out our Parrot Paradise, so same print as Annie is wearing, but this is our white version, which I think gives a really kind of crisp background to these lovely kind of parrot details. And this is on our Supima cotton lawn, which would be a lovely option, I think, for this Vogue dress.
Yes.
And because that bodice is lined, you're getting that kind of extra bit of coverage. So use like a white cotton lawn or something, I think, behind it.
Yeah.
And this is just going to make a really beautiful summery dress. Last but not least, we come to Beth's, who, again, I think took a slightly different take to everyone else and was, I think, one of my favourites.
Yes, I really, really liked the style that she'd gone for. So she said it was kind of for like festival outfit. I loved it. I thought it had a kind of sort of sporty edge to it almost.
I liked her reasoning of, keep the top small because you don't want to wear too much to Glastonbury. But yeah, I thought that bandeau top with the kind of halter neck strap detail could have looked quite cheap. But I think she sewed it really well and it was really nicely fitted.
Yes.
And then those trousers just looked fabulous. Again, really nicely fitted. I think they had lots of pleating detail that was all kind of gathered in an elasticated cuff at the ankle. The two together just really looked fantastic.
Yeah, and she'd used a little bit of fabric from the trousers in the tie from the top just to kind of tie it together and make it so it was definitely like a co-ord outfit. I just loved it. And I thought the trousers, she'd got just the right amount of volume so that you could tell they were supposed to be sort of swishy balloon style pants, but they weren't overly ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't like full-on MC Hammer situation, but they had an elegance to it.
Yeah.
I think that maybe again that's kind of some of her kind of engineering mind there, but I think the balance was just spot on, really nicely done. And then if you wanted to recreate that look, I think a pretty perfect pick would be Simplicity 9268. So this has got that kind of bandeau top with the halter neck strap detail and kind of balloon pants. These particular ones, I think, are a lot simpler than what Beth did.
Yeah, I think she had some sort of cargo pockets.
Yeah, so she added pockets, she added pleating, but you could certainly get the look. This is giving more kind of Princess Jasmine kind of simplicity to it, but I think it's kind of, for summer, I think this would be a really nice option. And then you could always pair it up with a little shuggy cardigan, maybe borrow Dawn's little chiffon top for a little beachy look. Before we get to wrapping up, what would be your perfect summer's day and summer's day outfit?
Oh, so, I mean, I don't want to say a beer garden, but...
Well, I'm going to say beer garden. You do you.
To make it sound like we're not, I do like just sort of going for a wander around some shops, kind of meeting up with friends, just having a very relaxed, chilled day in the summer. So I think my perfect summer outfit would be the Now and Then beach pyjamas.
Oh, nice choice.
This is another pattern that has been down on my list to try out because I love a good jumpsuit and I love the style of this, that it kind of wraps over and it has that bit of a vintage vibe to it. Nice wide legs, so you get a bit swish. So I love that pattern. And I think for summer, I would choose one of our ombre gradient fabrics. So this is our stonewash textured cotton. So it's going to be nice and breathable. It's got a little bit of texture to it. It's nice and soft and swishy. And I absolutely love the ombre colours. And I think in a jumpsuit like that, you could really show off the full colours of the ombre.
Would you be kind of like full on down the body?
Yeah, I think kind of light at the top, going down into the oranges and the pinks at the bottom. I think that would just be a really stunning outfit. And I love our ombre fabrics because you get the kind of combination of a plain fabric, so if you're not super into prints, but you still get to create something really bold and really striking.
Now, my perfect summer's day would certainly be meeting up with friends. I think a lovely, gentle walk kind of down past the canal side in the sun, and then meeting up with maybe a bottle of wine in a beer garden, just chatting away, watching the world go by. And then for this, I would be looking for something kind of relaxed, but still with a little bit of a kind of smart edge to it. So I've picked out the Wardrobe by Me tropical shirt, which is quite a similar style to the one I'm wearing. So it's a kind of camp collar shirt, so it's not got a stand on it, it kind of folds back with a facing, but it's a really nice, it's kind of slightly fitted, it's got a back yoke and a bit of pleats at the back there, but it's quite a simple sew as shirts go, which I would absolutely need to do it in 5 hours. So for this, I've gone with a viscose challis. I don't sew a lot of challis shirts, but whenever I do, I'm like, oh yeah, it is. For summer, I think it's really lovely, especially for a very kind of relaxed, kind of floaty vibe. So this is our Swallow Sky print, which I think is... Swallows are one of those birds that just symbolise summer to me. So I really love this print and all the different colours in it. And I particularly like the kind of pink tones in this. So I would pair this up with our one of our linen fabrics. So this is our Rami linen, which is a similar kind of fibre to linen. It's more of a kind of nettle, but in this lovely kind of baby pink colourway. And I would make with this the Vogue 1895 shorts. So these are a slightly more tailored short, which I think kind of makes it a little bit more dressy for kind of... I'm a bit classier, I'm not just out in my Bermudas. It has a back yoke to it. Again, there's no chance on earth I'm making this within 5 hours, but this is Fantasyland. So I think the two of these would look really nice together, and I'd be quite happy to spend my summer's day like that. So we've already talked a little bit about the fact that Dawn was the one to sadly leave us this first week. Do you feel like that was fair?
I think it was fair. I think it's always sad that somebody has to go home on the first week. But I think, it was... She'd done her best and she'd done some really, really lovely makes. And I think the judges must have had a hard decision because there wasn't an obvious, anybody who'd made any obvious mistakes or anything like that. So I think they did just have to judge it on kind of the fact that Dawn's make was a little bit more simple than everybody else's, and she hadn't shown off as much creativity as the others. Yeah,
I think it came down to the creativity really. It would have been nice, and I think a lot of people say, it'd be nice if no one went home the first episode. And I think that's definitely true this time, but I feel like I don't think there was anyone else who was more deserving of going home. No. I think in the made to measure, for me, Lewis was probably closest in terms of not quite hitting the fitting brief, but I'm glad that we'll see more of him. In terms of Garment of the Week,
definitely deserved. I absolutely loved Emma's outfit. Like I say, I think she'd given herself a challenge with making it a sort of swimsuit that would fit really well. The trousers were stunning, the bow tie detail. I couldn't fault it. I don't think the judges could fault it. I think it was a very well deserved Garment of the Week.
Absolutely agree. I think it was really well deserved. For me, Beth's was up there as well.
Yes,
I think hers was fantastically done. Anna could have been in contention as well. I think it was really quite close this episode. There were some really good ones, and I think we're going to have a real challenge on our hands over the next few weeks.
Yes, I think sometimes you can kind of tell before they actually reveal which one is Garment of the Week what it's probably going to be.
I didn't have a clue
this time. I didn't have a clue. I was genuinely surprised because I didn't have any idea what they were going to pick as Garment of the Week. But very well deserved.
And obviously, we're right at the start. We've only seen 1 week's worth of challenges. Who are your ones to watch?
Oh, I think Anna definitely. She's got some real creativity. She's got some fabulous skills, and I'm really, really excited to see what she does. I'm also interested to see what Tim and Lewis get up to. I love seeing menswear. I love seeing it sewn because it's not something I really sew myself. So I'm always really interested to see what the men get up to with their sewing.
Yeah, I obviously always keep an eye on what the guys are doing.
Yeah.
I really like what Tim did this episode.
Yes,
so I feel like he's got some similar kind of style notes to me. So I'll be interested to see what he makes. Emma, obviously, after this episode, it's nice to see someone who really embraces print and colour, and also is a fantastic sewer. But then also, I think Beth's been fantastic this episode. But I still think that it's open season. I think I'd love to see more of Minnie and Heather, Angie. I think there's so many people who could really surprise us and be fantastic.
So next week's episode is Colours and Prints Week. So that is definitely speaking to us here at Minerva.
Absolutely.
So yeah, really excited to see what they make with that. It looks like they've got an interesting transformation challenge coming up. Interesting colour choices there.
Yes, we'll see how that one works out.
The pattern challenge, I think they're doing a bit of pattern matching, which is something I tend to avoid if I can. So I'm interested to see how the bees tackle that one. And then the made to measure is kind of just an outfit all in one colour.
Yes, interesting challenge. Again, I think quite open in terms of what you can do. So I think we'll really see the creativity of some people shine through, and I think other people might need to really push themselves on the creativity front, otherwise they're going to get the wrath of Patrick and Esme. So thank you so much for joining us this week. We have loved getting to grips with the new series of Sewing Bee, meeting all the new contestants, and we can't wait for another 9 weeks of fantastic challenges. Do make sure that you like the video, subscribe so that you don't miss any of our latest videos, and make sure you dive into those comments and let us know what you think. Did the right person go home this week? Who was your garment of the week? And who are you picking out as your one to watch for this season? We'll be back, might be us, might be Vicky next week, for more Sewing Bee inspiration next Wednesday. But until then, happy making, and we'll see you soon.